Welcome to miniatures.de, your military miniatures magazine. In this issue, we are going to convert Zvezda 1:72 scale Ancient Greek Hoplites by rearming them with spears. The set contains 14 hoplites who have lost their spear and are now engaged in melee with their swords. We are going to keep one each of these as they are, but rearm the other 10 hoplites with a Dory spear, simply because we prefer the fully armed Phalanx in our wargames. We begin by cutting the straight-bladed xiphos off this Syracusan hoplite as close to the hand as possible. Using a 0.5mm micro drill, we now drill a guide hole through his hand. The hands of these figures are smaller and more detailed than hands of other 1:76 or 1:72 scale miniatures, making them a bit more difficult to drill. If we don't get this right, the hand may be destroyed and we will have to resort to plastic welding to repair the damage. So a little attention to detail and patience at this point will be a good investment. It is important to hold the drill at the same angle we want the spear to be held at later. If we get the angle wrong, the figure may end up looking like a standard bearer rather than an advancing hoplite. Using a 0.8mm drill, we can now enlarge the guide hole to accept the plastic broom bristle as the Dory spear. We cut one end of the bristle at an angle so that it becomes easier to thread. Using flat nose pliers, we flatten the tip of the spear and then cut it into a spear point. This new spear point is surprisingly compatible with those made by Zvezda. The hand of this hoplite is much easier to work with when suspended in plasticine. This bristle is thinner than the others, so we just replace it with one that fits better. The hand of this hoplite cannot be placed on the cork, so we just have to wing it again. It's not an easy task to get the microdrill properly centered and biting into the plastic, but persistence pays off eventually. The arm of this and the previous hoplite will be posed correctly once we are done with their spears. The hand of this fourth hoplite can again be placed on the cork for easier handling. This is a practical overarm hold of the spear, allowing the hoplite to strike down above the opponent's shield. The overarm hold has the added advantage that the dangerous Saurota rear end of the spear is above the heads of fellow hoplites standing behind this man. Dory's spears were 2 to 3 meters long, and we will make ours a little longer than Zvezda's to give the rearmed hoplites more reach. Using the pliers again, the end of the spear is flattened and shaped into the short point of the Saurota lizard killer. The rearmed miniature is now nicely compatible with the other hoplite pose sculpted in an overarm hold. The bent arms of these miniatures will eventually return to their original position unless we do something to update their plastic memory. We will dip the arm in boiling water to soften it, then reposition the arm and freeze the new pose by dipping the figure in ice-cold water. The arm of this kneeling hoplite requires serious adjustment to point the spear at the enemy. This fourth hoplite will make a great advancing pose now that he is armed with a spear again. So here are our freshly rearmed hoplites again, ready to be deployed in large phalanx formations. Thank you for watching. For more information, you're welcome to visit our website at miniatures.de.